Another very interesting story, and one which is good news for coffee lovers. Coffee prices are hovering close to multi-month lows. This is after them hitting peaks for several months. What's leading to the decline, and what can we pencil in going forward? Shreyansi joining in for more.
Well, absolutely. First things first, like you rightly mentioned, there's a multi-month low that you're looking at. So for Arabica, that's a 5-month low coming in. And for Robusta, it's a 1-year low that you're looking at. So in terms of declines, of course, the declines are sharper when it comes to Robusta. So 24.4 thereabout % is the kind of decline that you're seeing in for the last 7 weeks gone by for Robusta coffee as well. In terms of the world's largest producers, let's take a look at that list as well. There's, of course, for Arabica, Brazil is topping that list. And for Vietnam is the one that is topping the list for Robusta coffee variant as well. Now, in terms of the factors, there's a storm of factors that you're looking at. So in terms of what is leading the fall, there's a higher production that you have, as well as that you're penciling in from Brazil, because there's increased supply versus demand based on rainfall, and those conditions have in fact improved from the drought conditions that we saw coming in last year as well. So on the back of that, there's a little bit of a decline that you're seeing in terms of the prices based on the higher production. Now, in terms of what is being penciled in, there's a very important Brazilian consultancy, Safras and Mercado, who are talking about Arabica prices rising 4.3% for financial year 26. And for Robusta, they're penciling in 7.8% of an increase coming in there. Quickly, let's take a look at the threats that you could have to these lower coffee prices going forward. So the first one on that list, of course, is EU deforestation regulations. They're going to be requiring companies to hike their production cost, because there's an insurement requirement, in fact, for the supply chains to be proving that they're not linked to deforestation. But the silver lining is that this is going to be kicking in from the month of December at the very least. So there's still some time to go for that. And there's also sudden weather changes that you should be looking at making it to that list. And also shortage of shipping containers, as well as political complexity in Brazil, also something that you're looking at. In terms of threats, quickly, let's also take a look at the companies that could stand to benefit from this. So there's Tata Consumer, CCL Products, Nestle, BBTC, as well as Vintage Coffee that make it to this particular list. Let's also take a look at the commentary coming in from some of these managements. There's CCL Products, of course, that is expecting higher margins as well as recovery in volume growth. That is something that they talked about in their Q4 earnings call as well, in case Brazilian crop normalizes. And other than that, of course, when you take a look at Tata Consumer, surging input cost inflation had weighed on their Q4 margins. So we're penciling in lower prices to be aiding margin recovery. Just one caveat to note here as well is that pressure on margins could be coming down going forward on the back of this lower input cost, but the top line may not get impacted. So that's definitely something that you're looking at. So lots of moving parts here. But well, yes, your morning cuppa is definitely getting getting cheaper.
Cheers to that. Lord knows we have too many morning cuppas right here while doing the show.
But what's going to be interesting over here is, Tamanna, whether any of these companies will go and reduce the MRP or not, right?
Yeah, but
that's the key question.
To be fair, they didn't hike it as much. Maybe for the premium products.
Correct. So, I mean, that's something, you know, the game is on the margins then. The moment prices of coffee keep fluctuating, the entire game comes in terms of how the margins of these companies really get impacted. Because as Shreyansi was mentioning, the kind of spike that both Robusta and Arabica saw, the cooling off is not that much as well. But this will be a probably aid in terms of if the margins were hit by, say, 500 basis points, probably another 100 basis points will come back to them. So not a major impact where you'll see a further downtake or an uptake, but it will start normalizing now. So that is going to be interesting.